So, welcome back to the podcast, guys. Today we are joined by Jenna, who is the Vice President of Product Management at ZEGO. Jenna, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Why don't we start this by you telling us a little bit about yourself and what you guys do at ZEGO?
Pronounced ZEGO. And what we
Okay.
do is we provide in the property management space for property management staff to interact with their residents. So we're really focused on making sure that the leasing manager, the maintenance staff, all the people that support the residents that live in apartment communities or single family communities have the tools they need not only to pay their rent and their utilities, but also to log maintenance requests, ask questions, and basically handle all of those communications and transactions between the staff and those residents.
And Jenna, what are the significant trends you're currently seeing in the property management industry?
Yeah, the industry itself right now is going through a centralization phase. It kind of started with COVID, and then they figured out during COVID that they didn't need to have a leasing manager or a property manager on site as much as they had in the past. And so, as they have lost staff members through attrition and retirement, they have leaned toward not backfilling those positions and instead having one property manager support multiple communities if they happen to be close to each other. But we're seeing a lot of that, of downsizing their property staff and focusing a lot more on the technology they can use to, instead of rehiring and backfilling, replacing those individuals with technology. AI is starting to take off. Our industry is fascinated by it and is just now really starting to accept a lot of trends that you see in other industries. They do tend to lag behind other industries in terms of tech acceptance, but they are picking up on what AI can do for them. And so it's a really exciting time in this industry to see them accept these new technologies, look for different ways to make it impactful to their residents, and looking at the impact it has on their bottom line.
What are some of the specific use cases that you guys use AI?
We use AI within our tech stack to really help educate the property manager on what's happening in their community. Could be as simple as they have a unit whose water usage has gone up significantly over the past week. Being able to let them know of that, because it could very well be that there's a leak in that unit. Could also be that individual has had guests staying with them, which is a legitimate reason why their water might go up, right? But giving them that kind of alert and letting them know there could be a problem is really helping their property management staff go back to those residents and just check in and make sure there's not a problem. If you can imagine living in an apartment and not knowing that you had a water leak, and the property manager calls and says, "Hey, we've noticed a great user experience," because not only would that cost the property a significant amount of revenue to fix those issues, but you as the resident are paying for that water. It's also a benefit to you. So it's a great way for us to use AI to really not only provide the property with information, but then to also give the residents a great customer experience.
Makes them a perfect fit for ZEGO's solutions. Who would it be?
It's those communities and property management companies that have a variety of communities in their portfolio. A lot of the big names that really run corporate softwares, I'll call it the property management solutions, the Yardies and the rent manager, really cater towards the corporate needs of a property management company. Where we come in is if you've got a portfolio as a property management company that's mixed, you've got single family, you've got multifamily, maybe you have senior living, maybe you have student housing. Our solution is much more customizable than the solution from the larger PMSs. So you can provide a much more specific experience at each of your properties to meet the needs of your residents versus having a one-stop shop and one solution that you try to make fit for all of your communities. The other advantage that ZEGO provides is our solution is much more easy to use for those property management staff. you have a lot less of a learning curve when you have a new employee that steps into the gate. They're able to be working, be productive day one versus having to attend training sessions and learn a lot of the technology that goes into those larger solutions.
Get into this role, Jenna?
That's a very interesting story, as a matter of fact. I started my professional career as a high school teacher, but I married an engineer and I became fascinated with what he was doing and the technology and how it was growing. And so I left teaching and started working at a software company essentially as an administrative assistant. They found out I could write. They started having me writing proposals and RFP responses. And then I got into tech writing, online help, and then eventually met a product manager and really enjoyed the idea of being that communication point between the customer and the engineering team. So I took a job as a product manager. That was about 27 years ago, and the rest is history. I love the way engineers think. Not only did I marry an engineer, I gave birth to one, but I also love interacting with customers and being able to help identify what problems they're having, taking that back to the engineering team and watching them figure out how to solve that problem. Engineers are all problem solvers. And so giving them that opportunity to presenting them with that problem and being able to be that spokesperson, if you will, for the user and being able to talk on their level, though, so that you can throw around ideas and think about different ideas and really collaborate on a solution is, to me, the highlight of the job. Being able to then take that back to a client and say, here's what we're thinking about doing. Do you think this solves the problem? And seeing their excitement and their appreciation for what we're building, really does put icing on the cake for me.
Wow, from a teacher, that's very interesting. Can you think of some lesson that you took from being a teacher
Oh, absolutely.
into your current role?
You're communicators. And whether you're communicating information about the American Revolution, I was a history teacher, or you're communicating information about how our technology can help solve your problem as a client, they're both very similar. So being able to communicate information on the level that your audience is at and being able to not talk down to them, but just bring it to a point where they can understand it, is very much what I did as a teacher and what I do a lot of the times as a head of product.
So really, it shaped your communication skills.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you could change one aspect of the industry that you're in, what would you change?
Oh, boy. Um, there's a lot of consistencies in how utility companies interact with their clients. And it's not sexy, but it would certainly change our industry dramatically if there was a standardization around utility billing and how that utility information can be fed into property management solutions and even given to clients. It's a big pain point that property management companies have been dealing with forever. And it would be really amazing if there was a better way, a standardization of how that information can get relayed, that it's easier for us to report on it, provide that information, get the bills paid, and have that kind of conduit between utilities and the properties that they support.
And was there any lesson that you took from last year?
I think the biggest lesson I took from last year is AI is still scary to a lot of people. And so it's important to be able to bring it to a level that they can not have so much fear about it, and giving them confidence in the AI that you're implementing and and explaining to them why they need it and why it's helpful to them. A lot of people are still afraid that AI is going to come along and take all of our jobs. And really, I think that could happen, but I don't think it's going to take away jobs as much as it's going to restructure what we do in our day. If I think about a property manager and how they have to spend their day, we can take away the mundane, we can take away the routine, and we can let them focus more on the outliers. We can have them focus more on improving the experiences for their residents at their communities instead of spending their time processing utility bills or looking for variances to try to identify if there might be a leak. And so I see it as really improving the quality of all of our lives in terms of what we do day to day and day out. I'm really excited about how quickly AI is growing and how many opportunities it gives us as an industry to add a lot of value and build on those customer experiences.
Mhm. We are currently in the third month of the year. What are you focused on right now inside of ZEGO?
Now we're really focused on bringing our solutions together into a single interface for all of for all of our user groups. ZEGO was built by a acquisition. We started focused strictly on rent payments. We've expanded into utility and we've expanded into resident experience. But each of those solutions is still quite independent from the other. So what we're really focused on right now at ZEGO is bringing all of those together into a single pane of glass. And whether you're a resident, a property manager, or even a user within ZEGO supporting our customers, we want you to have one user interface, one place where you can go to interact with all of the services and products that ZEGO provides. And so that's really our focus for this year is bringing all of those experiences together and making our solution feel as seamless and frictionless as possible.
If there is someone watching that is looking into getting into this industry, what would you advise them?
I think just finding a company that you can get excited about that's solving a problem and then figuring out how to get in the door. Whether it was me starting out as an administrative assistant or someone else coming in as a new engineer who just maybe graduated from college but is really interested in the space. I think either of those paths work really well. A lot of people that get into product management specifically come up through support or they come up through account management and those sorts of avenues. So I think there's lots of ways to get into it, and it's just figuring out a company that you can that will give you that opportunity and picking the right horse, to use an American phrase, of a company that you can be excited to work for.
Jenna, for those interested in learning more about your work or ZEGO,
Mhm.
where's the best place to find you?
The best place to find us is our website, gozego.com. I really encourage you to go there and look around at what we offer. You can also find me on LinkedIn as well as Zego there if you have specific questions. And yeah, that's the best way to find us and what we're doing.
Great. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.